Title: The Whispering Shadows. Episode 1. The Forgotten Nightmares. It was a moonless night, and the air hung heavy with an unsettling stillness. I found myself drawn to an old, dilapidated mansion on the outskirts of town, a place rumored to be haunted. Little did I know, the horrors that awaited me inside were far more sinister than any ghostly apparition. As I stepped through the creaking door, the stale smell of decay filled my nostrils. The dim light flickered, casting eerie shadows that danced along the walls. My heart pounded, sensing a presence in the shadows, a presence that would soon manifest into my worst nightmare. A distant whisper echoed through the halls, chilling me to the bone. "You're not alone," it murmured, as if the very walls harbored secrets too gruesome to comprehend. The air grew colder, and an ominous fog materialized, shrouding the room in a ghostly haze. In the silence, I heard footsteps, soft and deliberate, echoing through the corridors. Panic gripped me as I realized I was not alone in this desolate place. Each step sent a shiver down my spine, building an unbearable suspense that made my breath hitch. Suddenly, a figure emerged from the darkness, a silhouette draped in tattered clothing, the face obscured by shadows. The figure spoke with a voice that seemed to emanate from the depths of despair. "Welcome to my domain," it hissed, sending a shockwave of terror through my very soul. The room seemed to close in around me as the walls whispered tales of unspeakable horrors. The figure revealed itself as the ghostly embodiment of a notorious serial killer who had terrorized the town decades ago. Legend spoke of a malevolent force that refused to rest, seeking new victims to satiate its insatiable thirst for fear. As I struggled to comprehend the reality of my situation, the figure vanished into thin air, leaving me alone in the suffocating darkness. But the nightmare had just begun. A haunting laughter echoed through the mansion, reverberating in a twisted symphony of madness. The walls seemed to close in, trapping me in a labyrinth of horrors. Each room told a different tale of the serial killer's gruesome acts, the walls adorned with macabre trophies that bore witness to unspeakable crimes. The atmosphere grew more oppressive with each passing moment, the weight of the past pressing down on me like a suffocating embrace. The chilling whispers intensified, revealing the secrets of the mansion and the malevolent force that refused to be forgotten. As I stumbled through the nightmarish maze, I realized that the only way to escape this living hell was to confront the horrors head-on. The mansion seemed to feed off fear, distorting reality and bending the laws of time and space. It became clear that I was not a mere spectator, but an unwilling participant in a ghastly game orchestrated by the vengeful spirits that haunted the forsaken place. Episode 2. The Dance of Shadows. The mansion's corridors seemed to shift and warp, leading me deeper into the heart of darkness. Each step echoed like a drumbeat, a foreboding rhythm that accompanied the nightmares etched into the very fabric of the decaying walls. As I ventured further, the air grew thicker, suffused with a malevolent energy that seemed to manifest in the form of ethereal whispers. The chilling voices spoke of the serial killer's insatiable desire for chaos, a thirst for suffering that transcended the boundaries of life and death. I entered a room adorned with faded photographs, each telling a haunting story of the killer's past. The images flickered like distorted memories, revealing a descent into madness that mirrored the tortured soul behind the crimes. I felt the weight of the perpetrator's twisted psyche bearing down on me, threatening to consume my sanity. Suddenly, the room plunged into darkness, and a ghastly apparition materialized before me. The specter wore the face of the killer but twisted by an otherworldly malevolence. Its eyes glowed with an unholy light as it spoke in a chorus of tormented voices. "You cannot escape the sins of the past," it intoned, sending ripples of dread through the very core of my being. The walls trembled as the room transformed into a macabre dance floor. Shadows writhed and contorted, performing a grotesque ballet that mirrored the heinous acts committed within these cursed walls. I was a captive audience, forced to witness the gruesome recital that unfolded before me. The ghostly figure beckoned me to join the dance, a sinister invitation to partake in the horrors of a bygone era. The air pulsed with malevolence as I hesitated, torn between the instinct to flee and the twisted curiosity that gripped my soul. In the midst of the surreal dance, the whispers returned, revealing the tragic tale of the serial killer's descent into madness. A broken childhood, a life marred by unspeakable trauma. The ghostly voices painted a portrait of a soul consumed by darkness, a puppet manipulated by forces beyond the realm of the living. As the dance reached its crescendo, the room convulsed with a violent energy, and the shadows congealed into a nightmarish entity. The apparition lunged towards me, and the world around me disintegrated into a void of absolute terror. Episode 3. The Labyrinth of Despair. I awoke in a dimly lit chamber, disoriented and trapped in a nightmarish labyrinth of shifting corridors. The walls pulsed with a malevolent energy, and the air was heavy with the stench of decay. My surroundings seemed to twist and contort, defying the laws of reality as the very fabric of the mansion rebelled against my presence. The whispers resumed, guiding me through the labyrinth with promises of revelation and torment. Each step I took echoed through the corridors, creating a disconcerting symphony of dread. The shadows seemed to dance with a life of their own, concealing hidden horrors that lurked just beyond the edge of perception. As I navigated the labyrinth, I stumbled upon a series of cryptic symbols etched into the walls. They told a story of ancient rituals and forbidden knowledge, the dark underbelly of the mansion's history. The symbols seemed to pulsate with an otherworldly energy, resonating with the malevolent force that held sway over this cursed domain. A distant moan echoed through the corridors, sending shivers down my spine. The whispers grew more insistent, guiding me towards a chamber cloaked in impenetrable darkness. As I entered, the air grew colder, and an oppressive weight settled upon my shoulders. The room revealed a ghastly tableau, a series of life-sized effigies adorned with the faces of the killer's victims. Their eyes bore into my soul, pleading for release from the eternal torment inflicted upon them. The chamber itself seemed to feed on the anguish of the trapped spirits, amplifying the atmosphere of despair. A flickering light illuminated a hidden passage, beckoning me deeper into the heart of the labyrinth. The whispers intensified, revealing fragments of the killer's unhinged psyche. It became clear that the labyrinth was a manifestation of the twisted mind that orchestrated the horrors within. As I delved deeper, the walls seemed to close in, and the shadows took on a life of their own. The labyrinth became a surreal battleground between my sanity and the malevolent forces that sought to consume it. Each turn revealed new horrors, pushing the boundaries of fear to their limits. In the heart of the labyrinth, a colossal door materialized, an ominous gateway to the culmination of this harrowing journey. The whispers reached a fever pitch, promising a revelation that would shatter the very fabric of my understanding. Episode 4. The Unveiling Shadows. With trepidation, I pushed open the colossal door, revealing a chamber bathed in an otherworldly glow. The air crackled with an energy that resonated with the whispers, creating an eerie harmony that seemed to herald the climax of this unholy tale. In the center of the chamber stood a spectral figure, a manifestation of the killer's tormented soul. It beckoned me closer, its eyes burning with a mixture of anguish and malevolence. The whispers crescendoed, revealing the tragic origin of the malevolent force that had bound itself to this forsaken place. The killer's story unfolded like a twisted tapestry, woven with threads of suffering and despair. A childhood marked by cruelty, a descent into madness fueled by unspeakable trauma. The ghostly voices painted a portrait of a soul irrevocably twisted by the cruel hands of fate. As I listened to the haunting narrative, the chamber transformed into a spectral theater, projecting vivid images that mirrored the killer's descent into darkness. Each scene unfolded with visceral intensity, immersing me in the tormented psyche of the malevolent force that had plagued the town for generations. The revelation cast a pall over the room, and the spectral figure began to convulse with a violent energy. Shadows coalesced around it, forming a nightmarish visage that seemed to transcend the boundaries of the living and the dead. The whispers reached a fevered pitch, urging me to confront the embodiment of the twisted legacy that had bound this mansion in perpetual torment. A portal to the abyss opened before me, revealing a realm of indescribable horror. The spectral figure, now transformed into a grotesque entity, lunged towards me with a primal hunger for chaos. The chamber quaked as the final confrontation unfolded, a battle between the forces of darkness and the fragile resilience of my own sanity. As I faced the abomination before me, the whispers morphed into a cacophony of screams and lamentations, echoing the agony of countless souls ensnared by the malevolent force. The room seemed to pulse with a chaotic energy, and the very fabric of reality threatened to unravel. In the midst of the supernatural maelstrom, a blinding light enveloped the chamber, shrouding the abomination in an ethereal glow. The whispers subsided, replaced by a solemn silence that hung in the air like a heavy fog. Episode 5. The Echoes of Redemption. As the blinding light faded, I found myself standing in a realm that transcended the boundaries of the living and the dead. Shadows danced on the periphery of my vision, and the air pulsed with an otherworldly energy. The spectral figure, once a harbinger of terror, now stood before me as a fragmented soul yearning for release. The whispers returned, but this time they carried a tone of remorse and longing. The tormented spirit revealed its name, a vestige of humanity buried beneath layers of malevolence. It spoke of the sins that bound it to the mansion, a tapestry of darkness woven from the threads of its own shattered existence. As the entity bared its soul, a surreal realization dawned upon me. The mansion was a crucible of suffering, a purgatory where the malevolent force sought redemption for its heinous crimes. The shadows that once danced with malice now seemed to quiver with a subdued sorrow. Guided by the whispers, I embarked on a journey through the ethereal landscapes of the spirit world. Each step resonated with echoes of the killer's past, offering glimpses into the moments of humanity that had been eclipsed by the consuming darkness. The realms shifted like dreams, revealing fragments of forgotten memories and unspoken regrets. In a spectral garden bathed in a soft, mournful glow, I encountered the apparitions of the killer's victims. Their eyes held a silent plea for absolution, and their ethereal forms seemed to dissipate with each step I took. It became clear that the redemption of the tormented soul was intricately linked to the liberation of those ensnared by its malevolent legacy. As I traversed the shifting realms, a profound sense of empathy washed over me. The shadows, once twisted into grotesque forms, now seemed to embrace me with a spectral warmth. The whispers transformed into a soothing melody, a symphony of remorse that echoed through the corridors of the spirit world. In the heart of the ethereal labyrinth, I faced a final trial, an ordeal that would determine the fate of the malevolent force and the tortured spirits bound to its legacy. The spectral figure stood before a gateway of shimmering light, its form flickering like a fading ember. With a heavy heart, the entity confessed its sins and pleaded for release. The shadows recoiled, revealing the vulnerable core of the tormented soul. The gateway pulsed with a divine radiance, offering a chance for redemption that hung in the balance between salvation and eternal damnation. Episode 6. The Abyssal Reckoning. The gateway to redemption trembled with an ominous energy, casting an ethereal glow that painted the surroundings in ghastly hues. As the spectral figure stood on the precipice of salvation, a dissonant symphony of wailing souls reverberated through the spirit world. The shadows, once allies in my journey, now writhed with a newfound malevolence. The whispers transformed into anguished screams, echoing the torment of the soul's yearning for release. The air crackled with an oppressive energy, and the very fabric of the spirit world seemed to unravel. It became clear that the path to redemption was fraught with peril, and the malevolent force clung to its last vestiges of darkness. The shifting realms twisted into grotesque visions, a nightmarish tapestry that mirrored the depths of the killer's depravity. I navigated through a surreal maze of distorted memories, where the walls wept blood and the echoes of the past reverberated with unholy resonance. The spirits of the victims, now twisted into grotesque phantoms, whispered tales of unspeakable horror that sent shivers down my spine. As I neared the gateway, the spectral figure convulsed with a primal fury. Shadows converged, creating a grotesque amalgamation that bore the weight of the killer's sins. The air became thick with an acrid stench, and the wailing souls intensified their lamentations, drowning out even the screams of the damned. In the final confrontation, the malevolent force unleashed a torrent of spectral tendrils that writhed with malice. The gateway flickered, teetering on the edge of collapse. I felt a cold breath on the back of my neck as the spirits of the victims pleaded for deliverance, their faces contorted in eternal agony. With a surge of determination, I confronted the abomination, wielding the lingering remnants of hope against the encroaching darkness. The battle unfolded in a maddening dance, a struggle for the very soul of the malevolent force that had haunted the mansion for generations. Just as the malevolent force seemed on the verge of consuming me, the gateway to redemption pulsed with an otherworldly brilliance. The spectral figure, torn between salvation and damnation, let out a guttural scream that echoed through the spirit world. The shadows recoiled, and the wailing souls fell silent. In a blinding flash, the gateway collapsed, pulling the malevolent force into the abyss. The spirit world trembled, and the shifting realms dissolved into a sea of ethereal mist. The wailing souls faded into a serene quiet, and the oppressive energy that gripped the spirit world lifted. I found myself standing in the dilapidated mansion, now bathed in an eerie stillness. The air was heavy with a lingering sense of foreboding, but the malevolent force had been vanquished. The whispers had ceased, and the tortured spirits found solace in the afterlife. As I stepped into the moonlit night, the mansion crumbled behind me, returning to the shadows from whence it came.
Hey guys, thank you so much for
The
watching.
town was
If
free
you
from the
like my
grip of the
Suspense,
malevolent
share,
force,
subscribe,
and the horrors that
and
once
see you in the next
plagued the
video.
living
Bye.
had become a haunting memory. But as I walked away, a distant whisper lingered on the wind, a spectral echo of the malevolent force, a reminder that the line between redemption and damnation is as thin as the veil between the living and the dead. The end.